Hippopotamus versus rhinoceros. Who would win between these two big animals? When talking about large land mammals, we often think of elephants. How about this time we turn our attention to hippos and rhinos? How much do you know about them? Hippopotamuses are large, round, water-loving animals that are native to Africa. The word hippopotamus comes from the Greek word for water horse or river horse, although hippos and horses aren't closely related. Rhinos may look like prehistoric creatures, and they do date back millions of years to the Miocene era, but they are also mammals like us. Size and appearance. The hippopotamus has a bulky body on stumpy legs, an enormous head, a short tail, and 4 toes on each foot. Males are usually 11.5 feet, 3.5 meters long, stand 5 feet, 1.5 meters tall, and weigh 3.5 tons, 3,200 kilograms. The skin is 2 inches, 5 centimeters thick on the flanks, but thinner elsewhere and nearly hairless. Color is grayish-brown with pinkish underparts. The mouth is half a meter wide and can gape 150 degrees to show the teeth. The lower canines are sharp and may exceed 12 inches, 30 centimeters. The ears, eyes, and nostrils are located high on the head so that the rest of the body may remain submerged. Numerous skin glands release an oily reddish or pinkish lotion which led to the ancient myth that hippos sweat blood. This pigment actually acts as a sunblock, filtering out ultraviolet radiation. Rhinoceroses are characterized by the possession of 1 or 2 horns on the upper surface of the snout. These horns are not true horns, but are composed of keratin, a fibrous protein found in hair. Modern rhinoceroses are large animals ranging from 8 feet, 2.5 meters long, and 5 feet, 1.5 meters high at the shoulder in the Sumatran rhinoceros, to about 13 feet, 4 meters long, and nearly 7 feet, 2 meters high in the white rhinoceros. Adults of larger species weigh 3 to 5 tons. Rhinoceroses are noted for their thick skin, which forms plate-like folds, especially at the shoulders and thighs. All rhinos are grey or brown in color, including the white rhinoceros, which tends to be paler than the others. Aside from the Sumatran rhinoceros, they are nearly or completely hairless, except for the tail tip and ear fringes, but some fossil species were covered with dense fur. Range and habitat. The original range of the hippos used to cover sub-Saharan Africa. The small current range of common hippos includes East African countries such as Tanzania, Zambia, and Mozambique. As semi-aquatic creatures, they prefer living in shallow water bodies such as lakes, rivers, or swamps. A depth of about 2 meters will be perfect for this animal to submerge the whole body in the water. Hippos can even sleep underwater, using a reflex that allows them to bob up, take a breath, and sink back down without waking up. Today, around 27,000 rhinos remain in the wild. Very few rhinos survive outside national parks and reserves due to persistent poaching and habitat loss over many decades. Today, a small population of Javan rhinos is found in only 1 national park on the northern tip of the Indonesian island of Java. Successful conservation efforts have led to an increase in the number of greater one-horned or Indian rhinos, from around 200 at the turn of the 20th century to around 3,700 today. The greater one-horned rhino is one of Asia's biggest success stories, with their status improving from endangered to vulnerable following significant population increases. In Africa, southern white rhinos, once thought to be extinct, now thrive in protected sanctuaries and are classified as near threatened. But the western black rhino and northern white rhinos have recently become extinct in the wild. Diet. Hippos have a healthy and mostly herbivorous appetite. Adults eat about 80 pounds, 35 kilograms of grass each night, traveling up to 6 miles, 10 kilometers in a night to get their fill. They also eat fruit that they find during their nightly scavenging. If food is scarce, hippos can store food in their stomachs and go up to 3 weeks without eating. Although hippos were long believed to be exclusively herbivorous, a 2015 study published in the journal Mammal Review found that hippos occasionally feed on the carcasses of animals, including other hippos. Rhinoceroses are herbivores, which means they eat only vegetation. The type of vegetation they eat varies by species. This is because their snouts are different shapes to accommodate different types of food. For example, the black rhino eats trees or bushes because its long lips allow it to pick leaves and fruit from up high. The white rhino has a flat-shaped snout that lets it get closer to the ground for eating grass. Behavior. Unlike us, the hippopotamus does not have sweat or sebaceous glands. Both species rely on water or mud to keep cool. These animals have a flexible social system. Common hippos are usually found in mixed groups of anywhere from 20 to 100 individuals, held by a territorial bull, but in periods of drought, large numbers are forced to congregate near limited pools of water. This overcrowding disrupts the hierarchical system, resulting in even higher levels of aggression, with the oldest and strongest males asserting dominance. Most rhinoceroses are solitary. Individuals usually avoid each other, but the white rhinoceros lives in groups of up to 10 animals. Rhinoceroses have poor eyesight, but acute senses of hearing and smell. Most prefer to avoid humans, but males and females with calves may charge with little provocation. The black rhinoceros is normally ill-tempered and unpredictable, and may charge any unfamiliar sound or smell. Despite their bulk, rhinoceroses are remarkably agile. The black rhinoceros can attain a speed of about 45 kilometers, 30 miles per hour, even in thick brush, and can turn around rapidly after missing a charge. Now, let's find out, between these two animals, who will win? A hippopotamus or a rhinoceros? Hippos are often considered to be the most ferocious and aggressive animals in Africa. In contrast, rhinos are less aggressive and are actually more solitary animals. First of all, rhinos have very poor eyesight, some of the worst in the animal kingdom. Hippos obviously are much more short-tempered than a rhinoceros. They get agitated quite easily compared to the rhino. An alpha male hippo lives in constant fights over life and death with other gigantic male hippos over access with all female cows to mate, and massive 20-feet crocodiles, so an alpha hippo has quite the experience for fighting. Rhinos don't have the constant battle experience a hippo has, and are certainly less experienced than the hippo in a sudden confrontation. However, hippo tusks are made of ivory, stronger than rhino keratin. But a rhino could easily impale the soft body of a hippo, but vice versa, the hippo ain't biting through a rhino's skin easily, nor would it go through enough to make the bite fatal. If the hippo is too far from water, the rhino probably wins. On land, the rhino has the hippo beat in terms of speed, maneuverability, and weight. The rhino can charge the hippo, and while his horn isn't as hard as the ivory tusk of a hippo, it is still plenty hard enough to penetrate a hippo's skin. After enough horn-sized holes are poked through its hide, the hippo will eventually bleed out and die. If the fight takes place at the edge of the water, say by a watering hole, then things become much more dicey. The rhino dare not enter the water, and the hippo dare not get too far from the water's edge, lest the rhino's land advantage start to come into play. If the fight takes place with both animals in the water, then the hippo almost certainly wins. The hippo has far more speed and maneuverability in the water, and will likely attempt to push the rhino further and further into the water to try and drown the rhino, something it is definitely capable of doing. Regardless, no matter which animal is the victor, both animals will likely sustain severe damage. So, in my opinion, this fight will end in a draw. I once read about a group of hunters in Africa who came across the evidence of just such a fight, specifically a hippo and a black rhinoceros. There was no winner. The hippo had been gored to death by the rhino, but the rhino's back was torn open. That's all for today. Thank you so much for watching, and please don't forget to subscribe and hit the bell button.